All right, so we are live. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, welcome to the fourth episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I am the owner and host of this channel. And my guest for today is actually Mr. Ozan Turay. Am I saying your name correctly, Ozan?
Yes, correct. Perfect.
Fantastic. Okay. So, Ozan, if I'm right, you have been staying in Singapore for 8 years, yeah? Is it? Or even longer?
Singapore and Malaysia combined coming to 9 years. So yes, in 2 months it will be 9 years.
Ah, congratulations. I actually stayed in Singapore for 15 years previously. So, I'm actually back in Indonesia now. Okay, so for the benefit of new viewers who just tune into this channel, okay, so Global Citizens is a show I created in order to host TCKs, third culture kids, expatriates, and of course, digital nomads. The reason why is because when you are visiting a country on a holiday, you of course you will, as they say, is open your mindset or expand your horizon. However, that is on holiday. As a result, you will always see only the positive aspect of it. And then when you want to move over to the new country, maybe you want to expand your business, there's a completely different ballgame. It's because when you're on holiday, you're always on high positivity. But when you're inside the new country, well, it's going to be a challenge, right? So, Ozan, maybe you can tell us a bit more about your industry or when you first move in. I believe you're from Istanbul, Turkey, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Maybe you can share with to the kind people here about how, when you first moved into Singapore, was it because of family decision, work, the work decision, or maybe on your own personal decision?
It was actually purely in a way family decision. So what happened is my background, I'm a mechanical and electrical engineer. So I
Wow.
was working in a heavy lifting company as a technical manager before I move in. But during this time the Dubai crisis come out.
Oh,
So my industry shrink down by 75% in less than 6 months. That was the
75%.
yes.
Oh my goodness.
So we were in a position we couldn't handle amount of work to the point like our garage was full of cranes, everything was coming back. We had difficulty finding clients. So during this
Oh,
time, my current wife, who during this time was my girlfriend, was in Dubai with me, and she said, "Why you
okay.
don't go to Singapore? It is a very nice place, and you will enjoy it a lot." So I say,
Ah,
"Okay." Since my company is shrinking down, and I see that a company
yeah, it's
which we
true.
putting 1 million, 2 million profits every month start to declare 500, 700,000 loss every month. So
That's a lot. That's
because
a
when you think of
lot.
equipment rental, you actually it is like leasing. So you're buying the equipment, but you're not paying full. You're paying installments. So if you rent out the equipment, you're getting 3 to 4 times of what you pay as your installment. But when you are not paying for it and you are not renting it out, you still pay for the installments.
So whether you gain or whether you lose in the end. Oh goodness.
Yes, exactly. So that
Oh,
is why when they cannot rent out, they were having a major loss. So I
yeah.
decided to change the sector, which was obviously not growing to in this area. Then we within 2 weeks after we discussed this, I just do a short search on Google about Singapore, and I say, hey, why not? Seems okay. Then I just moved to Singapore.
Okay, okay. So total 9 years, yeah, in between Singapore and Malaysia, right? When you first moved into Singapore, was there any kind of challenges, not only in work-wise, maybe in the cultural wise? I actually learned something very interesting about in Turkey is that there's something like when you knock backwards and then you click your tongue, it means no, right? Is it?
Yes,
Oh my god.
exactly.
Okay, maybe you can share with us a bit more. What was the difficulty when you first moved in? Because as an entrepreneur, there's no way you can just.
Difficulty, but I will say Singlish. It was the cultural differences. Like I tell you, my very first day, I managed to have a in very interesting day in the hawker center. So I just go down from our block, that
Okay.
Los block. So when I was there, the first thing I recognize is uh, oh, there is the tables are totally empty because in Turkey all the tables like restaurants have tissue paper, salt, pepper, etc. So I go to the only table that have a tissue on it.
Oh, that was a bad one. That was
And
a
it
bad
is
move.
outside and it is hot, so I just take a piece of tissue and clear my sweat.
Maybe you thought that it was a complimentary, is it? Like, okay, there's a tissue there for you to
Then
wipe
a
yourself.
lady ran towards me, and she said, "Hey, I chopped this table." So in my mind, the word "chop" is like you do karate to chop the table into two pieces, and I'm terrified.
Okay,
Chop this table, go chop something else. Then the lady just take the tissue, and in Chinese she tell me very nice words and go over there.
okay. For those of you who are not residing in Singapore, okay, so this is actually a culture in Singapore whereby if you want to chop a table, it means you are trying to book a table in a hawker center, you actually will be putting a tissue on the table itself. So this is
Mhm.
trying to indicate that this is my table. So yeah, yeah. Not to worry. Last time when I first actually moved to Singapore, the only thing I can eat in my house at that time outside in my home, yeah. So I was there since primary school. It's actually a noodle center nearby my school whereby they serve food that is extremely salty. The reason being is that in Indonesia, food of the preservatives and amount of salt that you can put in a food can make you feel that you're gonna get a higher blood pressure if you are used to eating Singaporean. So that was actually a challenge I have. My older sister, in fact, only eat junk food. I think in her first month in Singapore is because she can't stand the food there. It took us several times to actually get to adjust it.
You find Singapore food salty or not salty enough?
Not salty enough. Not salty enough.
Okay, another thing is the rice. I had a lot
Oh,
of difficulty getting used because for us, our rice in Middle East at least is more like your chicken rice. That's why I love the chicken rice. Like all day I can eat
okay.
like 3 times a day. But when I come, so they put the rice and they put vegetables next to it. So I taste the rice. I'm expecting something like chicken rice because this is what we taste as rice. So for us, rice is the main dish. Our
Okay. Yes.
staple is bread. No taste, nothing. Then I take the vegetables, very salty. I said, what the heck is wrong with these people? It took me a time to understand I need to mix them.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. You're not the first one who encountered this kind of challenge.
But overall, I love the food here. So it is the rest is actually quite easy to understand the culture compared to Turkey. I will say when you're doing business in Singapore, you maybe do a 5 minute report with the person, like you talk 5 minutes
Sure.
about anything, and after that, the 55 minutes you discuss business. In Turkey, it
Yes.
is the opposite. You talk 40 minutes about all the other things, so the person feel comfortable working with you. Then the last 20 minutes, you talk about the business, you fine tune the finance. So for us,
It's the same
you,
as in Indonesia, but for
yes,
Indonesia,
so
it will take 1 hour.
correct. So
One
this one
hour
hour,
of bonding. Yeah.
they want to make sure that they know you, and they find Chinese people because we met a lot of people from PRC, etc. Find these
Sure.
people are not interested in relations, so they don't enjoy working with them. That's what the feedback I was getting.
Yeah, it is
And
true. It is true.
because for them, if I don't know you, why I do business with you? That was the logic. So when I come and start talking to people, they are like, you are here to talk to me about my family, or you are here to do business with me? Like, I was, wow. I was thinking but I get used to it very fast, and in a way it is very easy way to, how to say, be more productive in
Sure.
Singapore. That's the keyword.
Yes, productivity is very, very important in Singapore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So your industry is you are a digital marketer, right? Your specialty is in search engine optimization, SEO, and SEM. If I recall, is search engine marketing. Am I saying it correctly?
Marketing and also social media marketing. Correct.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
My specialty
So,
is getting leads.
oh, okay, leads gathering, yeah, is it?
Correct. Leads generation, to be exact.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. So in this area, right, how important it is now actually for this kind of for a digital form of marketing? How important is it not only in Singapore but in Asia in general? And let's say I give you a rating of 1 out of 1 to 10. How important it is now?
1 out of 10, 1 to 10, I will say it is 9 to 10 because I
Nine to
just
ten.
asked. Yes, because if I ask you your current behaviors compared to 5 years ago, are you shopping online more or less?
Definitely online more. That's a definitely.
Yeah, so it is an increasing trend. Remember, now the everybody is wanting fast and convenient. Think of it.
Absolutely.
Compared to 20 years ago, even the new generation, or we call millennials, some call it, they doesn't
My
like the
generation.
very generation, etc. Uh, when you think of it, everything is in your mobile phone. It is the most strongest device that you spend most of your time and everything you're doing. You want food from your mobile phone. You want
Yes.
to reach your friends from your mobile phone. You want to do your business from your mobile phone. Even now, you
Okay.
want to date through your mobile phone. You can find a date
Yes, Tinder.
on your phone, on your fingertips. That's why people are too lazy to go out to do shopping, etc. I can find everything online and they deliver to my home. So
Okay.
is the main area that people are going for. And when people are free, when they don't have time to, when they have time to do whatever they like, the first device they take is still their mobile phone. When they are commuting place to place, they still check their mobile phone. So you need to be where your customers are, which is
Mm.
in mobile devices through Facebook, through Google. But whenever they look for something, this is the first place they will go.
I'm glad you actually give that. So my second guess for my when I first created the show is actually Mr. Anthony Chansamut. Yeah, he's actually an Australian, but he's of Lao descended, and he's also a digital marketer. The rating
Mhm.
that he gave, if I recall correctly, was 10 or 11 out of 1 out of 10. So I'm very glad that I have two digital marketer who actually give me a thumbs up on that. So the reason why I asked this is because I used to work for an employer who still believes in strongly in the more traditional form of marketing, from cold calling to road shows, which while it's still effective to a certain extent, it's extremely difficult, especially when the leads gathering is on areas in Singapore which has more higher productivity but do not have higher quality in terms of the people. So I'm glad that you are saying that it's 9 out of 10. I think you're trying to say 10 also is fine.
Okay, for this, I just tell to my clients this option. It was in insurance or what was the area?
I was in a sales education actually. It was a sales education company.
Okay, so put it this way. If you do road shows or door knocking or cold calling, it will take you, I think, around 1 day to call 200 people. Am I right? Not
Absolutely.
necessarily all of them will pick up, but try, call, try, call, try, call. Or road show, you ask 1,000, 2,000 people in a day. And I think it is not the most enjoyable thing to do.
No, it's
People
not.
fail.
Hearing 100 no and hearing 100 people cursing at you for no particular reason is extremely demoralizing.
Exactly. But do you know how much it costs me on Facebook to reach 100 people? Not 100 leads, but 100 people.
100
$1.
really- okay,
So
okay.
100 people to see your post on Facebook, not click on it, but see it is less than $1. So the question I ask to this traditional businessman, yes, it is true. It can be effective for you for the time being. But imagine I'm your competitor. You
Yep,
assign this person to, you can call 200 people to hear no, and these are not very targeted people. I can choose the people I'm interested, who interested in education, who interested in, let's say, self-development, etc. And Facebook knows us better than our spouse or our best friend knows about us, what you are
true.
interested,
That is
etc.
true.
And right now, if I receive a call, I will definitely will not be entertaining the call.
Yep.
So if I'm browsing through a Facebook page and I just see a sponsor ad, it wouldn't intrude my time. It wouldn't be, I wouldn't be angry with it.
Yes,
And if
yes.
I'm interested, I click. If I'm not interested, you wouldn't even recognize. So it's a
Yep.
numbers game. So I spend $1 to reach 100 people, and you spend 1 day or half day to reach 100 people. So if
And
I
it
decide,
can spend cost more than $100.
I think I can be engaging. I'll be as effective as 20 cold callers.
Yeah, it is true. It is true.
In the
Okay.
long run, I will just overrun the other business. It is that simple.
That is true. That is very true. Okay.
Mhm.
If let's say now you have the opportunity to barge into the CEO's office or maybe the chief marketing office or somebody in charge of marketing to use your service, yeah, what would you actually say to encourage them to use your service? Because let me add a bit of different circumstances, yeah. Because if you are in a different country, some people can you can deal with them directly. Like for example, when you mentioned when you're dealing with Chinese, you can be straightforward that you're trying to just bond for 5 minutes and you're going to talk about business. However, like if let's say there are maybe there are those ethnicities who just cannot accept a straightforward directly speaking, how would you actually persuade some of these people?
No, in the very beginning, I start to understand the person on a personal level. And when you start to understand the people, everybody have some desires to achieve or they have fears they want to prevent. And when
Absolutely.
you're talking with the person in the very beginning, you can see the conversation is going more towards business or the conversation is going explaining themselves or their family or their work environment more. So you can see where the person is riding. Actually, I believe in sales, it is 70% the other party is talking and you understand them and you prescribe them a solution to
Absolutely.
prevent their fears or help them to achieve their goals. So I let them to
Mm,
speak. If they are talking more on family and other things, I enjoy that. So I'm perfect okay to talk more about it. I share my experience. Then we become friends more. And at the end, I just wrap up the things quickly. If I see that they are more interested in talking purely business, I'm perfect okay. Then I start to ask them, okay, is it okay if I ask you a few questions to understand where you stand and I see if it is a good fit for you? Then they are very
absolutely.
ones who talk about business are more open to that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that is really good. That's actually good. For you, for those who are watching this and you are in sales, take note of that. Listen to your audience first instead of just budging in and then trying to enforce what you are trying to sell. Am I right to say that?
Correct. So
Okay.
you need to think of it this way: the world's best salespeople are doctors.
Mm, okay, okay.
When
Doctors?
you think of it, when you go to a doctor clinic, they tell you like, you need to take, let's say you're having massive headache. Every morning, 5 Panadol, every evening, 5 Panadol. You will not go and judge him like, how are you saying this? Can you give me a discount on that? You just give me a headache medicine, etc. Whatever they say, you happily pay the consultation fee to take your
Absolutely.
medicine and you do whatever they ask. Why do
Yes,
you
yes.
believe in the doctor? Because they understand your problem and they give you a solution.
Ah, yep, yep. Yes, that is actually a really good answer about that. Okay,
Mhm.
so throughout your time in your industry, right, what can you consider as a bad recommendation from maybe because there will be people who might be delving into digital marketing for the first time who are watching this, yeah. So what can you consider as a bad recommendation in your industry?
People always tell digital marketing is complex or difficult. I don't agree with that.
Mm,
The,
okay.
I see as newbies, the biggest mistake they do is they try to reinvent the wheel. Do not
Mm,
try to reinvent the wheel. Example, I'm spending more than 10,000 a month on ads. So I definitely have done some mistakes, etc. And the first thing I do when I was developing it is I try to discover myself, but I realize that there are marketers in the market who spend maybe hundreds of thousands every month. And these people, what they do is they learn, they make a lot of learning experiences. So I step on their learning experiences and their advices and tips. So I would strongly advise people to see and get a successful mentor in this industry.
okay,
So
okay.
my cost per lead, the reason why my clients are willing to pay me thousands of dollars is simply because I can reduce their cost per lead to half or even quarter of what they used to get.
Wow. You hear that,
And
guys?
that is why you need to have a working system that can help them to get better results over time. That will
Absolutely.
be the best advice I can give them. So do not reinvent the wheel.
Okay. So, guys, follow the rules of your industry. Don't try to reinvent it unless you are much, much, much more experienced in it. Am I right to say that? Unless you're somebody who is already considered the top in your industry.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, when you first move into Singapore, when you set up your companies and everything, yeah, do you ever experience like any kind of failure, whether it's a personal form or maybe in your office settings? And this happens because of cultural differences. Have you ever experienced that?
I don't call them failure. I call them learning experiences or challenges.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
failure is when something happens and you give up on the things you're doing. So every
Mm.
time I see a failure or the things didn't work in the way I want, I see it as a feedback and I adjust my model. Of course, I give you a good example. I don't look like Singaporean. So when people are talking to me within the first 3 minutes, the first question is, where are you from? And my
Okay.
answer is, I'm from Turkey. Then I see the major question mark in their head. They are trying to figure out where is Turkey and what kind of person I'm dealing with. Because in Singapore context, so for them, the foreigners are few groups. The people from PRC, people from India, and people
Yep.
from Europe or
Yep.
Caucasians. So, and all of them, they have a tagline like the Caucasians, the quality is good, but expensive. For Indians, whatever they say, you need to make a search about it, and you don't believe what they say, make them sign a contract. Yeah, see, you might have a lot of arguments in future. So when
Oh
I
wait.
get they couldn't place me into any of those categories. So then they need to think. The biggest challenge I always say, "Oh, let me think about it. Let me think about it." Then I feel very frustrated with this. And one or two of my existing clients give me a feedback that, Ozan, actually the reason why people are telling is because they don't know about you or your country. There are even clients that I have a paid up capital around 50,000 plus in my company. They're afraid that I will take their 500 deposit and run away out of country. So I don't know
Oh goodness.
ticket is more expensive than their $500. But this being said, when I was having this kind of challenges, I realized, and I get a local partner. And this gentleman I had was in his end 40s, and he's a very introvert person. He said, I don't do sales. You don't need to do sales. You just sit there and smile. Enough already.
Oh, that's
Then,
actually a very smart strategy. That's actually a really smart strategy. That's really smart because at least, hey, I have a local partner here. He is the one who's gonna assure everything. But actually,
Mhm.
you just made him there to be just a stand-in. Yeah, that's actually really clever.
Part of the work because he's a content writer. So he wants to be a content writer. I said, okay, you sit in the meetings and I pay you the commission for the sales also. He said, but I don't do sales. I said, it is okay. I will do the sales. You just sit there. So it is a challenge. It is not a failure. And there's an answer to it. I just changed my strategy and it just worked out. My sales percentages become 3 times more. Then when
That's
I
good.
get that, when I start to attract better customers, then after that, my portfolio start to speak for itself. So
That's
people are
good.
not afraid of me running away with their money anymore.
Guys, please take note. Ozan is not trying to take away your money. Yeah, he is trying to. He's a father. Uh,
8 years plus in Singapore so far, doing okay.
okay, that's actually a very useful information to an extent.
Mhm.
Okay, so in the last 8 years, oh sorry, 8 to 9 years of living in Singapore and in Malaysia, yeah. What has changed the way you have maybe the way you approach something, the how you have changed your perspective?
Okay, in past, I mean, in MBIT, I'm a very ENTJ guy, so very judgmental. So I see
Oh,
something in 3 seconds, I decide if I want to go in or not, which is a good and a bad habit. So as an entrepreneur, we need to make decisions fast, like that.
yep.
But that also makes a lot of mistakes because we do very gut feeling judgments. A good
Mm,
example of
that's
it
true.
can be Trump. So you can do very gut feeling wrong decisions as well. Some are right, but the wrongs can be very costly and very easy to prevent. So over the years, I realized I have a checklist of items. Like when I'm doing a decision, I just go through my basic checklist. So even if I see emotionally, I'm very excited about the offer or the thing that I see, I go through my checklist and is it the right type of deal that within my line, or is it something that is taking me out of my line, or there are actually a lot of risks that I didn't observe in my initial observation or
Assessment. Yeah.
time I hear it. So it allows me to go there. And even if there are some type of offers like I'm very close to, I don't feel right about it. When I go through my checklist, I see actually there are a lot of areas that it can help me. So I will listen to it more with a more open mind next round.
Mm,
So this
that's
changed my way of thinking over the years. I can tell.
okay, okay. That's good to hear that. Okay. Since earlier you mentioned, yeah, a lot of when you first came in is because people do not know where is Turkey and how to deal with a Turkish, yeah. Maybe you can give a brief description about the country, Istanbul, Turkey, and of course, please maybe on what kind of gestures of any kinds of greetings that somebody need to be aware of when they are dealing with a Turkish.
Okay, Turkey is in between Europe and Middle East, so it is
Okay.
really a developed country in this sense. So you will find a lot of influence of Middle East, but it is mainly a more European country. The closest country to us, as an example, comes to my mind is on the eastern side. It is especially sorry in the western side of Turkey, especially which most 90% of tourists go this side. Where east side is a bit more mixed, like Syria border. People don't like to go there much due to certain reasons.
I'm not
Uh,
going to say anything on that. Yeah,
no,
sure.
there is a lot of Christian sites. Like I know that many Christians were going there. I think these last 6 months it dropped a lot thanks to the war kind of environment. But the west side is very safe. Everything is fine there, and it reminds a lot of Greece. Indeed,
Oh,
it's a
okay,
very
okay.
Mediterranean culture. Despite it's a Muslim country, for Southeast Asians, when they think of Islam, they think of Malaysia, they think of Indonesia. It is very different. Despite we are 98% Muslim country, it is a very, very, very secular country, which means our alcohol consumption per head is more than average of Europe. So in Malaysia, you cannot imagine that with a 90% plus
Yeah,
Islamic country.
yep.
So we love drinking a lot. So I won few drinking competitions in Singapore. And
That's new.
second, yeah, I didn't write on my page very openly. Secondly, example, dogs or this kind of things you will see very commonly. So it is a very modern culture you will face. But you will see a lot of Oriental elements. The
Oh,
thing you
okay.
need to know about Turkey is, I will say, if you're going by tour, you are safe, everything is good. You don't need to worry about your life. People are not trying to hijack you, do things, etc. So it is a safer place than US, to be frank. So there is a
Ah,
very, very low chance someone with a gun will shoot you, etc. That doesn't happen. I mean, as far as I know, terrorist attacks, I can never answer to that, but they don't happen every day and they are not something very, very common.
okay, okay.
So it is a safer place, but not as safe as Singapore, just to be warning. So you don't
Yeah.
go anyhow by yourself, walk around. There are touristic places, there are safe zones, and there are places people, including locals, don't go at midnight, like narrow, empty streets. So use common sense when you're doing this kind of things. Now, the TripAdvisor is an amazing website.
Yep.
It will tell you every single restaurant, every single place you want to go, even the food you need to order there, and the price range, everything is there. The Turkish currency is not a very strong currency, so you will love it. If you do it for shopping. Like if you go with 1,000 sing pocket money, you cannot finish it in 20 days, 30 days.
What?
You will, yeah, serious.
Okay, that's for those who
Example,
are you.
this is a Ted Baker. I give you an example.
Oh,
Ted Baker's factory is in Turkey. So I buy this from the factory, and I paid less than less than, let me calculate, $70, $60 for this shirt.
$60 for Ted Baker.
Yeah, original.
Okay, to all those of you who are watching this, if you all ever consider for Turkey for your next holiday, do contact Ozan also, as that way he will give you a better recommendation. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So before my okay, so let me ask you this, yeah. Let's say a friend of mine, or who wants to expand to Singapore, okay, or maybe to Turkey. What would you recommend? What would you recommend to them on how you want to approach of how they want to go about it at first? And second is this: if let's say for yourself, if let's say you want to expand out of currently you are stationed in Singapore, yes.
Yes.
Okay. If you want to maybe you want to expand, let's say to Indonesia. For myself, what in on my end, let's say, okay, what kind of things that I can assist with your expansion? What kind of things I can do with your for your expansion?
Okay, to expanding on Indonesia, I think I'm expanding to Malaysia at the moment and
Okay,
Australia. in my business parts. So Indonesia, I will think of it more like a manpower source for me, because the cost per quality manpower is actually way more reasonable compared to Singapore or even to Malaysia. But
Sure.
it's a question mark for people like me, like what we will do, how we will find the right people. So Indonesia, the people are mainly worried is it safe, and how about the red tapes? If I will do an investment there, what will happen? So
Okay.
I'm
If
this
you
investment in
do
my
actually decided to do that, I would recommend you proceed first with Bali, because Bali is actually a community that accept more of our expatriates. And I myself am actually interested in that area. So if let's say maybe down the line, if you are interested, do contact me on it. Yeah.
sure.
Okay, so my last question is actually something that I will always ask to all of my audience, to all of my guests. What three advices would you give to a young man or a young lady who is now going to enter the real life? They are just out of school. They are trying to find out what they want to do, what they wish to pursue for their career.
Okay, number one, I will definitely advise them is do not look at the salaries or anything on the market so much. Focus on how much value you can provide to people. So what
Absolutely.
do I mean by that? If I can help a company to generate $1 million worth of sales, they don't mind paying me 100 over 1,000. That's always been the case. But you as a salary worker, you will have the employee mindset. So if you want to be in entrepreneurship, the first thing you need to focus on is what skills that I have or I can learn that can help me to add more value to people. The more value you add, the more you earn. It is simple as that. So then you need to know the value of maybe each customer or the things you're helping companies to edit. So once you know their industry, their pain points, and you can help them who will have the highest pain, you will easily find your customer base, and you will be earning a very decent income, and they will be your loyal customers for a very long time. That
Yes,
is
true.
a major advice I can give them. Second advice, as I think I gave already, don't reinvent the wheel.
Sorry?
So find a successful method and just follow the steps of it.
Yes, correct. Don't reinvent the wheel, right?
Yes, so that will be my second advice. You can be creative, you can add your own pace, but you don't try to reinvent things which people made hundreds of mistakes and find a winning formula. Don't try to change it so much. I will thirdly, I recommend them to spend a lot of time and if they have resources, finances to improve themselves. Because the best investment one can do is actually to improving yourself. That will help you to have the leverage over the competitors over time.
Okay. That's really good. That's really good advices. Okay. This is actually something that I just recently encountered. Yeah, because I have a friend who is from Bali, and he is trying to expand to Singapore. He is a one of his industry is a digital marketing. Can I also recommend him to you? Maybe you guys can come up with any kind of collaboration or something.
Sure, I will be happy to talk to him. Mhm.
Fantastic. Okay. I will refer him to you once I get in touch with him. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I will just acknowledge some of the comment. Oh, okay. So we have two comments here. One of them is from Alvin Lim. Oh, okay. Okay. Alvin is actually a secondary school friend of mine. He's in real estate. Yeah. So shout out to him. And there's also Mr. Puji. Okay. Puji is a former colleague of mine. So shout out to the two of them. All right. Actually, I think I'm done with all my questions. Ozan, do you have anything you want to say to the good people of the internet here?
No, not at the moment. I'm all good. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Okay. All right then. So with that, this is the conclusion of episode 4 of Global Citizen. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a good day to everyone. Bye.
Sure, thanks. Bye.